What is good, my Quick Crypto family and my Coin Factory family? It has been a while, probably the first time ever that I have not been able to go live for consecutive days. It's been a tough time, but hopefully this week will be one that's a lot easier. I'll be able to go live. As it stands right now, I should be going live every day from now. There'll be some days I have to be going live a little bit earlier, but we are finally back and finally ready to get into the crypto Kaspa content. We've missed out on quite a bit. I think the last stream we did was talking about the mainnet for Casplex being delayed, which we'll get into a little more so in this stream. This stream, the title is as it states, the good, the bad and the ugly. We have some good news, some really good news actually for Kaspa. We got some bad news, more so correlating to the smart contract developments and the delays. And then we got the ugly, which is once more some FUD, but I want to cover it because I think it's actually worthwhile and necessary to cover. Some FUD between Shy and KEF, but more importantly, some content creators who apparently, and I've heard this through my community actually, although I've not had the time to look through the actual comments and what people have been saying just yet, but certain KOL or certain figureheads in the community who have actually taken advantage of their members, which I'm sure you people know who I'm talking about already. We got all of that and a lot more to cover in today's stream, some macro news as well, and equally some questions for you all to take into account, which is, are we nearing the end of the cycle? Are we going to be going towards a 2026 top or more so ending early? But again, that comes later on. If you enjoy the content, which is normally daily, although I have been preoccupied recently, if you enjoy it, then leave a like, share with your friends, subscribe for more, and welcome back again to the channel. Hopefully you've had a great weekend and are looking forward to all the content we're going to be providing in this stream. I know that Blockchain Banter is currently live, so if you are leaving them for me, then thank you. If you're watching both at the same time, you're a legend. But I'll be tuning into their stream, I'm sure, at some point later on as well. Shout out to all the work they do. Welcome back, Greg, bro. Hope you're doing very, very well. Hope all is well. It's better. To put it bluntly, it's better. Still not completely resolved. It's been a very, very tough weekend in particular for me. I think the last time I went live was on Wednesday. I believe it was Wednesday. So it has been a tough weekend. But it's hopefully resolving itself now. So I should be able to start going live again every single day. Welcome, Prince. Hope you're doing very, very well, brother. Welcome back to the stream. And yes, Kryptoni, finally, I am back. Welcome back, Wing Hong, bro. Hope you're doing very, very well. We are not mooning yet. I'm sure you haven't. I know you haven't asked yet, but we're not mooning yet, but hopefully soon. Welcome back, Lau, bro. Hopefully doing very well. And you too, Dimitar. Where have you been? I've had a lot of personal issues recently with very, very close friends and equally some family members who have been going through very delicate times, to put it very vaguely, and I have just been doing my best to help them through it while also making sure that I don't end up getting the rug pulled from underneath my own feet. I know I've been very vague, but if you were to come to learn me more, which hopefully you all will in the future, certain matters I try to keep private because they are private for a reason. You know, I love you all and I'll talk and be transparent with you as much as possible, but certain elements, you know, I don't want to talk about because they're sensitive matters, and also they're not really my place to talk about either because they're not my situation at hand, but I'm also trying to help out. Vague circumstances aside, I have been preoccupied with that, but hopefully I'm going to be back now and better than ever. Welcome back, Edwardson. Hope you're doing very, very well. Welcome back. Thank you very much, brother. I appreciate you very much. What happened? If you go on to what happened with me, again, just family situation, talk about what's happening with Kaspa. We'll get into that in this stream throughout the upcoming hour as well, brother. So stay tuned for that up Banana Republic. Hope you are well. Miss your content, but remember, you come first always. Don't feel guilty if you're not streaming. I'll be here when you return. I appreciate you, Lau, and everybody else here tuning in. I know that all of you are very, very appreciative of the work I do, and I cannot thank you enough for tuning in every single day. I do always feel a little bit guilty, regardless of whether I'm busy or not, that I cannot provide you content, whether you enjoy the content or not. I do feel guilty when I cannot provide it to you. I have taken the time right now to at least try and focus on this matter at hand to get it resolved quickly, so therefore I can come back and have my full focus on you all again. Again, it should be good now, I'm hoping, but just bear with me the next week or so, and I'll be able to give you a bit more of a understanding, if you will. I said to you all 2 weeks ago, Kaspa is bad and smart contract will be delayed, and they will say next month. I mean, I know you don't like Kaspa very much at all. That's also why I have not addressed all the comments you've mentioned, because I know you don't like Kaspa at all. And in regards to smart contracts being delayed, well, we didn't know. You know, there's always a possibility of such, and it's just happened to have been delayed. Now, in terms of how long it'll be delayed for, unfortunately, we still don't know. Now, fortunately, and we'll get to this a bit more in a moment, but in accordance to what Capital says here, I've replied to folks around saying it'll take a few days. Unlike others think, I can tell you, believe it or not, there are zero technical issues. In fact, the Casplex want to, they can deploy them in even today. But others who, quote, know better will say it takes months. So, point being is, nobody knows. So while you're saying it's going to take months, you are in the bracket of you apparently know better. You don't know better. Nobody knows better. The only one who knows when they're going to launch it is Casplex. So we don't know. So there's no point of, spreading rumours or FUD about it. We just deal with the information we have at hand and address the information at hand accordingly. Don't be emotional. Be logical. And again, Kaspa, where it's at right now, no one expected it to be at 8 cents. Going into September 2025, of course. But equally, every asset has been stagnating for months and months and months. Looking at Sui, of course, yes, Sui's up in comparison to Kaspa, but you're looking at Sui, have been stagnating around this, this area below all-time high for stagnating since the beginning of the year. So that's 7-8 months. No, sorry, that's 9 months of downward price action for Sui. Similarly, like all these assets have been down for 9 months, all the altcoins. The only assets that aren't down in the 9-month time frame is XRP, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. I think Solana, let me double check Solana real quick. Equally Solana as well. Well, actually, I had a bit of a peak in January, but similarly. So every single asset besides the top 3 are down from their all-time highs in the past 9 months. So while Kaspa is down for a lot longer, I'm not going to discredit that. I'm not oblivious to that. But end of the day, all alts are struggling. So we've got to get out of the bubble that we're in and look at things more objectively than just Kaspa's doing badly. It's crypto has not taken off yet. And those who tuned into my VIP stream earlier today, Tony, Joe King, even Mr. Miles, which is great to see you there as well, brother. First time, I think. You would have seen the information provided in there from the live stream, which covered the catalyst coming through, what they're looking out for, and ultimately that we have still got more catalyst to come for an altcoin cycle, namely being regulatory clarity. And that's a very big deal considering what the KII recently announced. We'll get into this post first and foremost in a second as well. So ultimately, nothing's changed for me. Even now, I still think we've got more room to run. And that's what everybody believes. Well, everybody who does know what they're talking about, have researched, believes the same as well. But again, that's up for people to determine. Only Jesus can save us now. I mean, yeah. But I think we've still got more time. I wouldn't be too concerned yet, brother. Truth be told. The 3D, thanks for the update, brother. I appreciate you very much and welcome back to the stream. Hopefully you enjoy the content. Confirmed, we are indeed appreciative of your work. You do. Thank you very much, Greg, and yes, everybody else. I do appreciate you very, very much. I'll promise you that I'll be uploading videos. Cause I haven't uploaded a video in over a week now. Uploading videos this week on Kaspa and probably a market update and maybe other cryptos as well. And equally doing some streams. Hopefully back to doing daily live streams. I can say right now that my stream on Thursday and on Saturday will be earlier than usual. Every other day should be the usual later time period, being from 8 p.m. BST to around about now. But again, we'll get into that in a minute. Jay is the Scottish girl with the axe and knife. That's why he's always been away. I have no idea what you're referring to. Hopefully that's not too bad of a horror story. I have not got a clue what you're talking about, unfortunately, Wing Hong. I have literally, in the time where I have been preoccupied, I have been completely detached from the internet. I've barely been in my own community. I have literally 4 or 5 messages of people at me in my community. I went through the Kaspa channel earlier today, and I had to go through 500 messages, I think it was, which is insane. 4 days away, 500 messages. I'm very impressed by that. I thank you all for, continue to talk more and more. And I saw, members like Cody in particular, who was very, very communicative and trying to, again, help provide some guidance and information to the community, which is why I appreciate him being a mod. But yeah, I can only imagine what the general chat has to install for me, so I'll get to those messages in a second. I think the delays was brilliant, wait for the market to rebound. There's also a speculation behind that as well, that the delay by Casplex was not so much because they can't go live, and even Caspador highlights here they can go live right now. It was more so because, and again, the speculation we have maybe because they are waiting for the market to be better, so therefore they can launch smart contracts when the markets are in an uptrend, therefore continuing that momentum to bring in more adoption. But yeah, I see Kryptoni's message here, and for the most part, I do agree. If you're going to FUD Kaspa, you're all within your right to FUD Kaspa, right? But there are levels to it, and at the same time, there is the question to be asked: why would you go into a community to FUD a project that you have no belief in? But I guess some people just like to troll. Is what it is. Hey, I've missed something. I'm 7 minutes late. Not yet. We're still going through the introduction, so don't worry, brother. We'll get into the content in just a moment. Literally any second now. Also, Kaspa just experienced its first ever bullish cross. If you can draw that out for me and send it into the Discord, please, Kryptoni, I'll highlight it. You most likely are right. I'm just very much trying to get back in. I literally said in the announcement today, you guys have to help guide me through this first stream, because it has been a while and I've got a lot of information to cover, but I need to also help get back into swing of things again, because it's been a while since I've taken a day off, so it feels almost like it'll be like riding a bike. I'll get back to it very, very quickly, I'm sure, but it feels a bit odd for the first time. It's like if you're driving a car, you drive manual and then you go drive automatic, and you drive a manual again after a few weeks or whatever. It feels a bit weird to start off with, Last 9 months, sure, but I was DCAing both Kaspa and Sui at the same time last year. Even at current prices, I'm 3x on Sui, down 40% on Kaspa. It's been rough. It's my only coin that is red. Oh yeah, I agree with you, KB. I'm not selling, not buying anymore either. Need to be more risk averse now. And yeah, I think that's also a relatively smart strategy. And I don't disagree. If you were to get into Sui and Kaspa at the same time, then yes, you'd be up on Sui as opposed to Kaspa. My whole premise of applying to there was just simply that all altcoins in the grand scheme of things have performed badly since the beginning of this year. Now, Kaspa has been performing badly for a lot longer, since the middle of last year, but comparatively, all assets have been doing badly at the beginning of this year. So it's not necessarily a testament to Kaspa being bad. It's just all altcoins. If you're not the top 3 assets, you're not Bitcoin, Ethereum, or XRP, you just haven't really made any gains. And of course, XRP has had its very fortunate situation when you got in really early, when the lawsuit was being concluded, to which then you've seen, at least a 7x in your investment. Some of us like myself are very fortunate in that. So equally, you're also like me, KB. In all my assets that I hold, Kaspa's the only one that's down for me as well. But it's also my biggest bag, because I do have the conviction that it's going to do very, very well in the latter half of the cycle. But that being said, though, I'll get into more of the questions in a moment. I've just seen Kryptoni put in the golden cross. Yeah, I see that. So just loading it up on stream right now. You can see that's the golden cross Kryptoni referring to right there. And I mean, yeah, again, this is a very, very good indicator for Kaspa, which highlights that we should hopefully be seeing Kaspa make this move upwards in the foreseeable future, which is fantastic stuff. That being said, though, I'll get to more of the questions in just a moment. Before we do, let's get into the content, starting off with the good for Kaspa. So again, those who are part of my VIP would have seen this post already. Of course, you've been following Kaspa for a while. You would have seen this post already from the KRI. But in my VIP roundtable, we spoke about, again, 2 or 3 interviews and equally an institutional document, which, just to double check who it was from, the documentation was from Charlton's Law. It was, basically talking about the great crypto reset of 2025. And we also went through a Signum Bank post once again. Point being is the documentation from the VIP we went through today was talking about, again, the catalyst. Because, of course, with the market at right now, we're trying to find out when or what will be the next move for Kaspa. The catalysts being regulatory frameworks, legislation, alongside treasuries and whatnot, ETF filings, maybe rate cuts as well. All those sort of developments we're looking into right now. Regulations, though, is the main one. In particular, the Clarity Act, because the Clarity Act creates clear guidelines between the CFTC's jurisdiction and the SEC's jurisdiction. That would be very bullish for Kaspa, because Kaspa is a field of proof of work. Therefore, under the legislative framework, it would be a commodity, therefore under the CFTC's jurisdiction, which would give it more freedom, and that could incentivize more investments from retail and institutions to come to Kaspa. So the Clarity Act being implemented into law would be a very, very, very bullish catalyst for crypto, for altcoins, for Kaspa. Does not guarantee a gold candle immediately, but it would be a very, very bullish catalyst. So with that in mind, regulations being very, very big, the KRI have an update here. They officially applied to join the European Central Bank PONS. I apologize, I probably butchered that. I definitely have butchered that, but the PONS Market Contact Group for shaping how wholesale financial transactions will settle in central bank money on DLT platforms. PONS is the European Central Bank's short-term track for interoperability between market DLTs and the traditional financial system. For KRI, this is where Warp Core plays a crucial role. Our ISO 20022 compliant bridge that links TradFi to Kaspa's block DAG. This matters because it creates a standard-based channel for financial institutions to interact with Kaspa, enables stablecoin issuance and wholesale settlement rails aligned with European Central Bank frameworks, and provides the backbone for future carbon and energy market integrations where Kaspa's architecture offers unique scaling advantages. And also KRI have made very strong progress on the architecture for carbon markets, but in the near term, their main and sole focus seems to be on ISO 20022 connectivity, which is a very, very important step. And I am 100% backing the KRI thought on this, because again, those who are in the know, those who have been following this channel for a while, equally those in the VIP will know, one of the biggest catalysts coming this year is in November 2025, when 91% of all financial institutions will become ISO 20022 compliant. The SWIFT system, JP Morgan, all the major banks, if you're not compliant with ISO 20022, you risk becoming redundant and becoming obsolete. So the KRI making this their sole focus for Kaspa as well is very, very important, and a great step, and giving us good conviction therefore of, the markets Kaspa trying to target, and the institutions who are trying to leverage Kaspa, who are doing the right things. It builds the foundation for the next phases. ISO 20022 connectivity will help Kaspa be able to connect to the likes of stablecoin markets, deployment, carbon credits, and eventually energy market tokenization. This is a very, very big deal. One of the greatest news I've seen in regards to what the KRI is doing right now, which is fantastic. And we'll see hopefully a lot more coming out. Of course, they don't give too many updates because, the enterprise clients and whatnot, NDAs and whatnot, but these updates, I know some people will be like, well, we've still seen nothing from the KRI just yet, and you're well within your right to say that. We have to see the developments coming out still. But we should know that in Q4 of this year, which Q4 starts in October, which is next month, we'll see sometime in Q4, so either October, November, December, we'll be seeing the launching of Warp Core, the launching of Gigawatt, and the launching of ZETEX, the pilot program. So we should hopefully start seeing the KRI launching projects that will be connected to Kaspa or leverage Kaspa, and that will hopefully bring more enterprise adoption to Kaspa as well, which could therefore mean the last 3 months of Kaspa's 2025 cycle will be the most explosive. We'll have to wait and see, of course. Again, Q4's looking very, very optimistic in a grand scheme of things. Potential smart contracts with IGRA, eventual smart contract with Casplex, stablecoin launching as well. All the other developments that again will take shape more so around then, alongside the launching of the Clarity Act, which I'll quickly do a Google search right now. Clarity Act vote. So I actually don't know exactly when the date is. I still have not seen. Also, the last time I had was on July 21st when it was actually voted on. But I don't know. I thought it must be sometime in September, but I haven't seen any definitive date just yet. So once I find a date or a timeline to when the next Clarity Act or the next vote happening in the Senate comes through, I'll make sure to inform you all in my community and on stream as well, because that's going to be a big catalyst for us, and that'll also help Kaspa have some more foundation, more credibility, and hopefully some more adoption as well. In some other good news, we have seen some big developments in the likes of Kaspa.com, for example. Their lended token launchpad and the decentralized exchange seems to be running smoothly, or coming up and running right now. Launch in seconds, trade, graduate, swap, and stake any Kaspa Layer 2 tokens with devlock, anti-bot protection, and next level features even. So we're seeing that right now, which is really, really cool. So you can see, maybe a second era of the pump fund, which is, for my current interpretation, KRC20 is kind of the B-Tech version of pump fund for Solana. Now, I don't think this would be necessarily the pump fund, but you might see, a platform of similar magnitude, or hopefully a lot better. These sort of DEX is being built for Kaspa right now. You've got Zelus, you've got Kaspa.com, you've got KFC, Kaspa Finance, and I'm sure many more who are currently building diligently with Kaspa right now. So this is great to see. One element of development here. Equally, Castle Wallet here, who are saying we're already testing as to the send flow of layer 2 assets. DeFi on Kaspa isn't a dream anymore. It's right around the corner. You can see here Kaspa, Kasplex, Igra, all stuff seemingly being built right now, which is great on their iOS update for Castle Wallet. Fantastic stuff all around. And additionally, we've got Cassia messaging right here as well, which are currently, I think Cassia are actually giving some updates in blockchain banter, which I'll be listening to later on as well, where they've basically just given a ability for Android users to basically utilize this new Kaspa messaging platform. So Google Play's asked us to gather at least 15 beta testers, which currently right now they have 8. I'm sure they probably reached that soon, if not already right now. So you can shoot us an email and participate with this. I haven't got an Android, so I can't do so myself. But again, this is the first big step as well for Cassia to bring decentralized messaging platforms that are cheap and extremely quick on Kaspa platform to the real world. It will only grow more and more, should and hopefully, if when Kaspa's adoption takes off much more in the near or not too distant future. So this is great stuff around. All in all, the good for Kaspa is good, and I'm looking forward to seeing what more comes out in the next coming weeks or whatnot. And equally the KEF, they announced that they've got something coming to Korea for the first time, where they're going to be a title sponsor of the on-chain symposium by Token Post KR Korea, joined by the host of Tether, the world's largest stablecoin issuer, and Crypto.com. So this could be a very big deal, potentially putting Kaspa in some form of loose connection, or I say loose connection. We've seen Kaspa.com, we've seen Crypto.com even, talk about Kaspa once or twice in the past, and we know that KEF are talking to Tether. So these aren't connections that are news to Kaspa, but it could potentially strengthen the connection between Kaspa and a strong leading global exchange and the world's largest stablecoin issuer. The spotlight Kaspa's strength as both a currency and a next-gen infrastructure, with bringing a special Kaspa shop experience to Seoul, earn Kaspa at our booth, then spend just 1 Kaspa to enjoy local Korean snacks. And that's not all. There's another surprise activity coming during the launch break. Stay tuned. I'm not sure this is the event they're talking about. There was one event that KF mentioned where apparently Son Pelinsky may be in attendance. This one might not. I'm not entirely sure. But this is, again, a very big deal, bringing more expansion and adoption to Kaspa, which is great, happening in a week from now. So this is quite cool all in all. Looking forward to more coming out. Which that would therefore, for the most part, conclude a lot of the great news coming to Kaspa for the time being. I'm going to answer the question real quickly, and then we'll come back into the bad and then more so the ugly. I'm coming full circle as well to give you the full update on what's coming to Kaspa since I have not made my last live stream. They delay smart contract because the market wasn't healthy. While you're panicking, smartest things they did. It would have been a dud if they released today. And yeah, honestly, and again, that's speculative from ULB, but at the same time, it's logical. So I don't discredit the theory, because yes, if they had launched the smart contract mainnet when they did on the 31st, look at the market on that time. The market 31st would have happened was yesterday, and look, Bitcoin right now has been yesterday just came below that support of 109k. Ethereum equally just lost its support of around 4.38k. So like the market for the most part is stagnating, and the reason why it's stagnating is because the market is waiting in anticipation. Well, actually, there's 2 reasons why. One is because of World Liberty. World Liberty just launched their token today, which it depends how you view it. For the most part, I'd say maybe it's good because it highlights more institutional investment into crypto, but at the same time, it's quite similar to the Trump coin in a similar element where it just sucks liquidity out of the other markets. Not to the same extent as Trump coin, but World Liberty is, Trump's company. So that also for the market's correction today right now, and also because the markets are waiting in anticipation for Friday's job report data, because that was determined rate cuts. So with the markets not being great, the launching of the mainnet, while would have been fantastic for Kaspa and might cause a little bit of a relief rally, for the most part, we probably be back to the same price we're at right now, because there is no incentive right now, or no significant incentive right now to be in any altcoin, unless you're XRP or Ethereum. There's little to no incentive for it. All the markets are not doing very well. So that will change, again, in the coming weeks. That will definitely change. But I think I arguably agree that, yeah, it might be a smart thing for them to actually delay that. Because again, that's going to come, we're going to come back to this post in a moment here, but Kaspa highlights here that they can deploy whenever they want. There are no issues with Kaspa. And again, you have to take his word for it. You've got to choose if you trust him or not, which I do trust Kaspa personally. Just me personally, though. But he's saying that they can launch whenever they want to. They just haven't done it right now because they've got certain reasons why they're not doing it. And it may therefore well be because they know it's not a good time to launch it because the markets are not really performing very well. Welcome back, Falco, bro. Hope you're doing very well, brother. Them delaying smart contract is them not trying to time the market. Delays are normal. Those timelines are really just estimates. If not for the ready yet, then they need to delay, which is perfectly normal. And yes, again, delays are perfectly normal. Now, it is the reason why people are a bit uncertain about it, to put it bluntly, is because originally we were told by Kaspa and the KEF team pretty much was that we likely expect mainnet launch by the end of Q2, which would have been end of June. And we're now going towards September. We're now in the end of Q3, and we haven't had a mainnet launch just yet. So we already had a delay, and then we had a countdown to the 3rd of August, and then we got delayed again with no timeline. Coming soon is what it says. There's no timeline at all. That's what's caused a bit of further uncertainty and people to be a bit upset by it, and I understand that completely. But I do, for the most part, want to say and believe that them delaying it is maybe not the worst thing. Because again, the market's not great for it. Delays are normal. It'd be great if they gave some form of... Because right now, and the problem is right now, Casplex haven't really got a history of doing things that the Kaspa community are happy about. And what I mean by that is, you've got KRC20s, for example, which for the most part, I don't think they're all a failure. Again, there are some memes that I hold that I think are doing very, very well, and there are probably more that do very, very well. They are building real stuff with KRC20. But the problem is, the launch of KRC20, the first launch was terrible. Second launch was equally a little bit of a mess, and it caused issues. And therefore, a lot of faith on Casplex has now started to be lost. And of course, there's been a lot of FUDs surrounding the key, particularly Johnny as well, driven mainly by Shy. But it's basically lost a lot of faith from them. So people right now are just hoping that when they launch, that it's going to be perfect. It kind of, in a sense, almost has to be perfect. Otherwise, people are going to be very upset and think, well, it's got to be Iglabs or nothing, therefore. So delays are normal. I agree. But yeah, I wish there was more clarity behind the KEF and Casplex, because I feel like there's too much uncertainty. There's not enough transparency behind this current entity, in my belief. That's my personal belief, though. Thanks to price drop, I'm finally efficient Kaspa. Big up to you, Wing Hong. Love to hear that, brother. I hope you're doing very well. And yes, keep stacking that bag, my man. September 10th is my bet. They said only days for a delay, and that is the first conference after all. I mean, yeah, we did see a post as well, which I'm not sure if I've got it preloaded. Oh, we have it here, yes. We're talking about, the event in Korea, September 13th. The first one being Korea On-Chain Symposium on September 10th. The release of the roadmap happening sometime in December with ZK opcodes and VProgs. And the launch of the new virtual machine for Casplex, not the Ethereum virtual machine, the Lua virtual machine, which is introducing an app store model for dApp builders on Kaspa. All coming. There's no, date for that. This is going to be in December time, which hopefully they stay true to that one. But again, who knows? And then you've got these events taking place in the next week or two. So maybe you see it launched on the beginning or just before this date. But again, there is increasing belief that the reason why is because they want... They're saying final touches may just be we're waiting for the market to be in a better position. At the end of the day, you've got to understand it's still an entity, it's still a third party that wants to make money. So they're going to want to launch it in the best conditions. Same thing for tier 1 exchanges. Launch it in the best conditions, Now, in that regard, we'll get to a little bit of the bad before we get to more of the questions right now. Go hear from Johnny here. Understandably, the delay of the mainnet can be disappointing, especially with release of a specific date ahead, which is true. That's the problem right now. KF has prepared its work around that date as well. So he's highlighting that, we expected it on the 31st. It's not coming on that day anymore, and we were preparing our events and works around that date, which of course has not happened anymore. The delay is partly due to a test with layer 1 to layer 2 Kaspa bridge not issuing a new token such as Casplex. Makes it a bit more challenging than expected. So, and I just see questions about this as well. And it's interesting because Igra Labs had launched their own token. Some people weren't part of the pre-sale, which I was lucky to get in part of the pre-sale. Casplex, to our knowledge, had not launched their own token. And, you know, some people were happy with that, more people were happy with that. But there are more challenges, as I highlighted here. Now, I don't know the technicalities behind it, but there are more challenges to trying to launch your layer 2 that's on top of the layer 1 without a token that kind of helps bridge that together as well. So the layer is partly due to a test between the layer 1 and layer 2 canonical bridge not issuing the new token, such as the Casplex, which makes it a bit more challenging than expected. The release of the date and romance, in my opinion, indicates the enthusiastic passion of building a Kaspa, but it won't take that as an obligation or a duty, especially that Casplex is an independent third-party dev team, which never implied that it had any core layer 1 blood, nor ever raised any fund from the community. I find it hard to exonerate them. I should also note that although we've always been criticized by some self-proclaimed core after, so that's also talking about Shy, which again, that for me is, Shy was core. You know, he is self-claimed core. He literally was part of Dag Labs. So again, Johnny and Shy feud once more going up. After a whole year, there's launched a KYC 20. There were never any bugs at the protocol level. At client wallet level, yes, various projects derives from such as NFTs, not developed by Casplex, grow out of it, and it seems that at least some part of the community likes it quite well. So I advise them to disclose that expected online date to the KF inner circle, such as Casplex testnet devs. So if you really care that much about the date, find the best KF inner circle member to figure it out. So ultimately, somebody in the KF inner circle knows the date, whether that be Kaspa Door, Johnny, who knows, but they do seem to have a date in mind. They just now have not publicized that, which again, my biggest qualm right now with the KF and Casplex is just their lack of transparency. Now, we don't get much transparency in general in life, in institutions, but with Kaspa at the very base layer being a fair large proof of work, open source, very transparent project, when you get other parties coming in, and that includes the KRI as well, truth be told, who come involved, who are trying to build on top of Kaspa, but they are very, very, they're very secretive about a lot of the stuff. Now, I say understandably, you know, the KRI have got enterprise partnerships and NDAs and whatnot, but I've got to be, you know, I can't be biased. I've got to say that if I don't like the lack of transparency for KEF, same thing goes for the KRI as well. I would like to see more transparency, truth be told, because it gives me more incentive and belief in what they're building. And I mean, again, the delay, bit bad, not ideal at all. I'm not panicking by it, not in the slightest. I wouldn't say I'm frustrated, maybe a bit disappointed is the right word I'm using here. I'm disappointed that it's been delayed, and also we haven't been given a date. And then, of course, in this post here, Johnny just wants to throw shade at Shy, which, to be fair, there is a lot of stuff. We'll get into that in that regard as well. More shade being thrown back and forth. I mean, Johnny's got a point. You know that the KLC 20 hasn't seemingly had any issues or bugs since its actual launch. But the problem that we are emphasizing here is that the first launch was terrible, and the second relaunch had issues as well with client and wallets, which, while that's not the Casplex and stuff's fault, you should have at least communicated with those wallets and clients properly to make sure there was no issues. Because despite it's this is Casware, the Casware is the one at fault here, but Casware, you know, should have communicated with Casplex properly, and same thing vice versa. I'm hopeful that Gigra will communicate properly when they launch their testnet and mainnets as well. Now, be that said, that's one post from Johnny. And then we saw Kaspa here as well. He talked about the fact that, yeah, he said that, you know, he's pretty much said the same thing as well, like, but others know better, that say that it will take months. Nobody knows besides the inner circle of the KS seemingly when it's going to go live. Now, we don't know. We know it's coming soon. Maybe it's going to be days. Maybe it's going to be this week. Maybe it's going to be next week. Maybe it's going to be end of the month. We don't know. It makes sense for it to be in the market's going to be in better conditions, which right now it's not. Capital currently down 3.53%. Valued at 8 cents right now. touching that support right now, which is a very strong level of support for Kaspa, so hopefully it will hold that. But we'll have to wait and see. Now at the same time, what Kappa Silver says here, I also resonate with and I agree with. Cashbacks have delayed the launch of their layer 2 smart contracts, and I totally support the decision. Rather than being sure, rather than be sure they do things right than to launch things the wrong way. Going forward, abstain from giving dates. That's my suggestion. Just give timeline goals. That's what IGRA's done. IGRA said we're launching our testnet in Q3, which they haven't fully launched their public testnet just yet, but it's still Q3 and they're hoping to get it out this month. And the mainnet will come out in Q4. Now, probably going to be end of Q4 at this rate, truth be told. But they're given a rough timeline for it. By Kaspa's giving a definitive date of 30th of August, and now it being the 1st of September, and we have no launch date for it, that has caused FUD in the Kaspa community. Truth be told, it didn't cause too much FUD. If you look at the markets, you know, we saw a bit of a pullback yesterday. This pullback today is not from smart contracts, it's more so from the general market and world liberty. But yeah, it's just a frustrating time, or a disappointing time, I put it. And then we got some of the slightly going towards the ugly that I'll get into actually in a moment. This is regarding, so I mean, yeah, it's going to be regarding more so beef between Johnny and Shy, which I'm not going to identify or stay too much on the topic of the beef between the two, because I know people don't really care or want to talk about that. But I'm going to highlight a point from Shy that I think is actually worth highlighting, which I'll get to in a moment. Before I do, again, let me get some questions real quickly. Are we supposed to be panicking right now? Keep calm and say baby. I agree, Falco. Yeah. I mean, I'm not for a moment worried right now about the price or crypto or Kaspa. Haven't been for a while. Welcome back, Art Zero, bro. Hope you're doing well, brother. Regardless of the Kaspa's price action, gotta respect Jay for streaming through all this downtrend. Not too late to look into Bitcoin. Actually, a small and early project, unlike Kaspa. Kaspa is not early. I mean, Kaspa is early. I understand what you mean, because Qubit's very, very new in comparison, but Kaspa hasn't had its first... This is Kaspa's first bull cycle, so by and large, it's still early. After it's had a first bull cycle properly, then you can stop saying it's early. Even then, though, and I said it to my VIPs earlier, we covered so many documents, exclusive documents, that all institutions, and I'm talking from Paxos, BNY Mellon, Securitize, PwC, Amina Bank, Franklin Templeton, a $1.5 trillion asset manager, and many, many more. I just put all the information in my VIP right now, and all of them, all these institutional clients said, word for word, we are early. So if we're early in crypto, then Kaspa as an asset is definitely early, because Kaspa hasn't had a first cycle just yet. I'm just worried about the hash rate massive decline. Yeah, I understand that, Jedi. I really, really do. The idea or theory behind it is that when Casplex and IGRA's layer 2s are launched, and you start seeing transactions taking place through Kaspa messaging, through DEXs, lending, whatever it may be, you'll see transactions take place on the Kaspa protocol, and that will then incentivize the miners to start mining again. Other than that, then yes, I understand the massive hash rate decline would be a cause for concern, but I'm hopeful that coming towards the end of the cycle, and equally from that point onwards, it'll start to change more and more, especially if more Bitcoin maxis get involved in Kaspa as well. And no, I wouldn't. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying the hash rate things. The issue is it's not. It's like justifiable, or like the hash rate issue is something that's definitely worth talking about. You know, so those who said you were fudding, or those who of course want to protect their bags, and I understand why they want to say that, but at the same time, I'm not too particularly worried about the hash rate just yet, because the catalyst that will give Kaspa the hash rate back and the mining incentive back haven't been released just yet. If Kaspa has smart contracts already live and the hash rate this bad, then I'd be a bit concerned. But the hash rate, the smart contracts aren't out just yet, and Marathon are still mining Kaspa still, so I'm not too concerned. I'm pretty sure the next Marathon report would be November time, I believe, but I'll double check that. What's your thoughts on Cascade? Have you checked their website? I have not just yet. No, I have been so preoccupied the last 5 or so days that I have really had zero time to do much research at all, which is also one thing I'm very regretful of. That's why, again, this stream right now, I've been trying to piece what information I've been able to find in the past few days and just kind of bring it all to you right now. I've seen stuff about Kaspa. I haven't even had time to go through some Belinsky's interview that I wanted to get through last week. So I've got to do all of that this week. It's going to be a very busy week for me, but hopefully I'll have the time to do so. And, get back into talking about what's coming to Kaspa. And from what I've heard of Cascade, they seem to be very interesting. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about them. I do agree, generally speaking, that we are early. The big catalyst for hash rate are still not here yet. I'd rather they get delayed. Again, I agree. I'd rather that Casplex delay the mainnet than a repeat of KRC 20, 100%. Caspa's on the edge of tier 1 listings. They may have been persuaded by said exchanges to delay, since Kaspa doesn't pay for a listing. Well, that's the thing. KF, they're funded by OKX. And that's part of the thing we're going to get into right now. So we've already got into this element here with Johnny just saying, the delay is unfortunate. We were expecting the launch of Casplex to not happen right now. It's unfortunate. The delay is due to the Casplex token that, it's a bit of a challenge and whatnot. They're still saying, we're still committed and whatnot. And then also throws a bit of shade at Shy, who is apparently self-claimed core member, which I think is a very low blow comment because he was Kaspa core, not a developer, but he was a researcher. He's part of the Daglaz team, which makes him a core member. Mike and Dennis, who are part of Igra's team, they are technically speaking Kaspa core because they are part of Daglab's team and working with Igra right now. So I do think that's a low blow comment to make and trying to just again ruin Shy's credibility, which Shy does not help himself. But I think that's again just no need for that. But again, those two are constantly back and forth here. Anyway, to talk about that stuff here, we're on the Casplex delay. Which I do agree that the delay was probably the right thing to do. And maybe the exchanges were part of the reason for that. And we'll get into that exactly why. Because Johnny has made a post here responding to the KF where they basically spoke about it here about a community fund. So, thanks for the $181.87 donation out of the total cost of $50,000 community donations via the Cas Coffee. The actual cost will of course exceed $50,000, and there'll be additional cost for travel, accommodation, printing, and materials. KF will keep doing things we believe that will do good for Kaspa in its own way. So from the sound of things, from the looks of things, basically in regards to this event here, the one in Seoul, they did a community fundraising to basically just say we'll raise money to help make it better and whatnot. They've kind of back and forth here. So the community funds is what sees a benefit. The community funds what it sees as beneficial to Kaspa. I imagine that these prices most folks don't have much profit to donate. So yeah, it's just saying that, of course, we community are very, very giving, but with Kaspa price being down so far right now, no one's really that willing to part from their bags at all. Which is understandable that people don't donate. The first donating is being voluntary. Just a reminder that then the community shouldn't be telling the KF what to do and what not to do, especially when there's barely any consensus to act from such a decentralized community. Now, that for me is where things start taking a little bit of a turn, right? Because shots like this, things are getting better here and here. In response to the post here, because of course the KF of course after the donations, and I don't think there's a generic or massive problem with that, except when you take into account that the KF do have Ice River, OKX, CoinPal, and other companies who are seemingly backing the project. They're a third-party entity, but they do seem to have these other, OKX, for example, one of the biggest exchanges in the world, third biggest or so in the world, who are seemingly backing the KEF. This does not mean they've got an abundant amount of capital, but the fact that they are asking for money is interesting, and more so because when Shy was asking and doing his own community fund, trying to raise money for him to create his own books and whatnot, the Kaspa community came out and just slandered him. And this is one of my, again, maybe I'm too emotionally invested into this particular sentiment of Kaspa's community in regards to Shy and his lingering nature behind Kaspa. Because I do think, again, personally, that Shy was done wrong. But more so that, again, Shy was kind of exiled by certain members of Kaspa, or seemingly, I want to say forced out, but he was not really given an incentive to stay. And he was defamed for the most part from what, again, this is speculation for the most part, but the one thing we can say for sure is that when Shy was asking for community funding in regards to his to continue his own work for creating the books. People just said, go away. How can you ask for money? That's terrible. But the KEF do it, and seemingly nobody's calling them out that much either, at least from what I've seen. So I think it's an interesting comment to make, interesting point to highlight here. And it is, and again, it does raise questions as to, you know, like, I guess it makes me once more think about the flags, the red flags that Shai's been raising here. And he just says, you know what, never interrupt an enemy while they're in the middle of like making a mistake. It's a very, very famous quote. And of course, that's, I'm assuming Shai's way of saying that the KF right now are currently digging their own hole. Johnny's digging his own hole, and he's not going to try to impede, knowing that basically their time is going to be coming to an end. Now, again, it's a whole ugly side of Kaspa once again, the FUD. Shai still seems to be very, and I understand Shai still being somewhat involved, because again, Kaspa is in a sense kind of his baby as well. He, whether you like it or not, he was a core researcher for Kaspa. He was part of DAG Labs. He is someone who was near the beginning, or at the beginning of Kaspa's inception. You may not like Shai for his character, and that's perfectly fine, but I at least think it's worth respecting the man for his intellect and what he has been able to provide for Kaspa so far. And it's a shame that he's currently where he's at in Kaspa right now. I'm not saying that he is completely right to be, in regard to his FUD on the KEF. He may be slightly too emotionally involved, and therefore he's just pushing a narrative that is unfair. But at the same time, we have no true understanding. We have no true knowledge because we don't know the whole story. Point being is, the beef's still ongoing. Cashback delayed their smart contract. It's unfortunate, but maybe for the best. Johnny, you know, talking about the whole situation here, throwing shade at Shai, talking about the community fundraising, which, you know, again, I think if there is true money behind the KF in regards to Ice River, in regards to OKX and whatnot, then they should have the capital behind doing it. But I don't think there's anything wrong in seeking out a fundraising, as long as they're not kind of demanding it, which doesn't seem to be the case. Doesn't seem to be, not saying, oh, if we can't do it, not going to do the event at all. It just may not be as extravagant as we want it to be. But again, that's just a little bit about that. That's part of the ugly. Then the big ugly, which I have only briefly looked at because I haven't had the time to go through everything right now, is regarding, and I don't normally, you know me, in my channel, I don't like to get into bottom to beef, but when there are literal receipts, it's quite hard to stay neutral. So this in particular is regarding one of the biggest content creators in CG, and also one of the most notorious members in the community who has been involved in many scandals, seemingly, Archetype, where, according to Kurt here, Archetype took 1% of Kurt on base supply, called it, and then dumped it on his followers and asked for another $20,000 to promote it. Meanwhile, called multiple other projects, also dumping his tokens, scammers. And the CG of the negotiations took 1% and $5K, and then also dumped, calling us a rug. So it doesn't seem to be in particular in regards to Kaspa's community here, but it's still another community. Kurt on base, Archetype and CG were reached out to, both being quite big content creators. CG in particular in regards to the meme coin community. And yeah, they kind of took the capital and ran with it, and also kind of faded on the community as well. And yeah, it's remember, everyone in their groups, you're literally paying to be the exit liquidity. Live and you learn. And, you know, even Pumpelinski highlights here, you know, same thing here. And you can see all the receipts here, you know. It needs to stop. Receipts here. With CG, like, literal receipts here. So, it is, if you want to read it for yourself, you can pause it. And it's already, all the information is already available in my community. We've already spoken about that. I will be going through those comments later on as well. But yeah, it is, it's a dog-eat-dog world at the end of the day, right? People will do what they do to make money. I don't condone this at all. I can say vaguely, because I don't want to, you know, potentially ruin any future partnerships, but can say that I have had people approach me in the past, ask me to promote certain products or get involved in certain projects, and I've either ignored them or told them no. But certain things I have. I mean, for those who know, I'm currently, as you can see in the bottom left right now, I'm currently working alongside BYDFI. They are no KYC, no VPN exchange with regulatory license in Canada, the United States, Ethiopia, Australia, many more regions. They currently got a partnership deal with Newcastle United, a very big football club in England. And they currently got a training campaign with me right now, actually, where you can have a chance to win up to $10,000 in Ethereum. But BYD is an exchange that I have been using, and I do like their exchange, especially because there's no KYC, something that I think I do very much appreciate. So I do trade on their exchange. But there have been other partnerships with other platforms, and equally with other projects have approached me that I have just not taken up, because I do believe that there's little incentive for me to do so, for one. Also, there's no feasible way that I could do it in a way that kind of protects my community, because it may also be rug pulled himself. For example, one that I will talk about, only because I'm not too sure what's happened with them, is Kaspa VPN. I'm not totally sure what's happened. They haven't made many posts on the looks of things right now. But I know they did a pre-sale, which I didn't get involved into, because I did think it was a little bit weird they're doing a pre-sale when they hadn't made any sort of like August 19th, August 18th, June 11th. So no post whatsoever for 2 months. 2 months with no updates whatsoever. And then they're asking to do a pre-sale. And I'm like, that's a bit odd. So I didn't want to partake in that. Which people did warn my community about that as well. So again, it's just, once more, don't be emotional, be logical, do your own research, be very careful who you join. I do have my own VIP, which the main selling point of my VIP has been the institutional information provided in there from big enterprises who are talking about what's coming to crypto, and equally the traders doing there as well. These sort of things we don't currently aren't partaking in, because we just, again, I mean, we would never do this. You know, I think it's below scummy to not just steal from a project that's seemingly trying to do good, but then also take advantage of your own community. They're already paying your bills, and you're going to take more from them. I think that's wrong. Very, very wrong. Now, again, I'm not one for normally talking about content creators publicly, but I think when there's literal receipts, there's enough evidence for me to then just say, yeah, it's terrible. And people like CG and Archetype, I mean, I believe karma will come back to bite them. And with the way regulations are getting involved right now, those two may very well have enough receipts to be liable for some criminal action in the future. They've got to be careful about that sort of stuff. Not that they deserve to be careful about it. They're doing it already. But, yeah. It is. Just be very careful what you're doing, family, honestly, and who you listen to. I thought IGRA public knows... Yeah, IGRA's public nodes are live, but their public testnet's not live. So it's not the exact same thing. Like, the public nodes are live, so the nodes are now live. Let me look at IGRA real quick. The public nodes are now live, but the actual, like, public testnet, I don't think is live just yet. Yeah, public nodes are now live, which is great. But they haven't got, like... Yeah, so community hardware, not just our first IGRA nodes, are live. So, yeah, from one... I mean, maybe... Yeah, so in the next few weeks, we and 6 external operators will cooperate to monitor the performance of the network closely. Once the network is sufficiently stable, we'll make the guidelines. Yeah, so it looks like there are some nodes that are public now, but they'll be releasing more once they've kind of analyzed it properly. So it's like... It is still very much... I don't think a full test has come out just yet. At least not to my knowledge. But we'll see more, I'm sure, in the coming weeks as well. As IGRA highlights here. Welcome back, Double D, bro. Hope you're doing very well, brother. So the devs can connect to it, however, and then you'll see it become public to the community soon enough as well, from the looks of things. Kaspa just completed its first full cycle, hence a golden cross. Yeah, I mean, for a first full cycle, Kaspa's done okay, actually. If you look at it, full cycle from down here, it's done very well. Hopefully it'll be only up from here. DAC8, they really suck in Europe. Belgium, 10% tax if managed by a family man. Lots of swaps, 30% trading, or 0 PPF. I mean, yeah, it's just the whole element behind governments and their taxes and whatnot. I honestly, I'm honestly contemplating just leaving all my capital in crypto, going to Dubai with zero tax, and just taking it out there if I can, because it's just sometimes ridiculous. Not the same on this journey without you. Appreciate it very much, Enzo. 1.5 million Kaspa Maxi. I'm not sleeping much these days. Still confident we'll get our 25, 50x either 1-3 months after 2026. I'll keep stacking. Big up Enzo, man. Love to hear, and thank you very much for being here once more. And yeah, the journey's definitely better with all of us here together. So great stuff all around. Thank you very much for being here once more, my man. Chat control, which will be extended in the future. Yeah, I know that as well. That's ridiculous. I hate it. First, and what kind of hours is going live? Yeah, I know. It's a very, very bad time. I'm still very much dealing with my personal issues, so it's the best time I can go live today. But I will be hopefully going live at the usual time tomorrow at the very least. CG is a joke. That dude sold his soul a long time ago. I used to follow him a while back to hear what he said. Use the information except for leading me, Kaspa. That's it. Yeah, a lot of people are very much in the same boat right now. There's even a video actually. I think it was it Greg? Somebody showed me a clip in my community where when Kaspa's crescendo update was happening, they asked him what his thoughts on crescendo were, and he had no idea what it was. Which I understand he's not a Kaspa content creator anymore, but he's more so now just a general meme coin KOL, where he just kind of makes money in quick pump and dumps, which is fine. You know, there are a lot of communities out there like that, and they do very well. He's got a very, very big following, so I mean, again, no disrespect to his business strategy. I just don't like what he does to his community. But when your kind of main following seems to also be coming from Kaspa in particular, and you don't know about crescendo and the stuff happening in Kaspa, that's a bit concerning. Not concerning, but it's just it doesn't fill me with much belief, you know. But hey, that's just me. And yeah, Mr. Mars once more. Yeah, free Rebel gets the crown, free the colonies, 100%. Welcome back, Ghosty bro. Hope you had a great day so far. Now, in regards to that, we've got a few more sources here. Once more, just a post here from YStan, just highlighting again that Ethereum is terrible. You know, with Royal Liberty here, taking out $1,300 on Ethereum. Gas fee is $139. That's insane. That's insane. It costs that much to take that. You're using so much of capital on that, where capital can move over $10,000 for under, 5 cents, not even under a cent. So it's crazy. Absolutely crazy right now. So that's just again a problem with Ethereum. That's also the shortcoming that will hopefully come to light very, very soon. You've got this post here from Plan B highlighting about will 2026 be a bear market where Bitcoin price goes down more than 30%. And yeah, I'm not too sure. Typically I'd say yes, and historically speaking all information says yes, but we are in a new cycle with institutions being involved and their sources say maybe not. Jay's house stressed out today. Not stressed out, just exhausted, probably. Posted from Okakobi is a letter here about the M2 money supply, which again we've highlighted in my VIP that this is a very, very crucial indicator. We're currently at all-time highs with it right now, which is great stuff, and this is a big, big catalyst that, again, despite the market still being stagnating, the amount of global liquidity is going up higher and higher and higher. So eventually, when the green light is sounded for crypto, this capital will start flooding into it, and that'll be great for the market. And the catalyst being ETFs, but more importantly, regulatory frameworks. So again, M20 supply been a big catalyst we're looking out for right now. And then another big announcement here as well. Apparently, Scott Bessent says Trump might declare a national housing emergency in the coming months, which, if you look at Doge AI here, it just basically talks about, emergency powers could fast-track permits / red tape choking construction and redirect HUD's $73 billion budget from bureaucratic bloat to actual housing solutions. So basically a way to try and bring more housing to America. We'll see if that actually takes shape or not. But again, we'll have to wait and see. How does the M2 money supply indicate future M2 points or data points? Well, typically speaking, if you look at the way it works is the M2 money supply is kind of the indicator of how much money is currently floating around in the economy. In this particular case, how much money the Federal Reserve has, right? And what this typically means is that you have this money in the economy, and as you do with any sort of money, you want to make your money work for you, so you invest it. Now, when the economy is really, 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 really strong, you invest it into your bonds, you know, your safe haven assets and your whatever. When the economy is a bit more, you know, unsure, but for example, right now, the markets aren't, the economy is not stable right now. But also, with rate cuts coming soon, and also regulatory frameworks coming through, the market will start shifting more towards risk on markets. So crypto, equities, stocks. So the amount of liquidity in here will slowly but surely start flowing into these markets here. So if you look at Bitcoin, you look at the M2 money supply, you can see right now, if you line it up, this is where we're currently at. So it suggests right now that hopefully, and it's been very, you know, this is the first time we've seen a massive deviation between Bitcoin and the M2 money supply, but Bitcoin should be making this move towards, you know, 150k or so in the coming months. You know, a bit of a pullback, and then you've seen it going up again. So, and the M2 money supply, the amount of money in the economy typically takes about 10 to 15 weeks before it actually cycles into the risk on markets like crypto. So this is a big indicator because it showcases there's more money in the economy right now, while also indicating that that money therefore will soon but surely inevitably flow into crypto. Welcome back to Don Carlos, bro. Hope you're doing well, brother. You hear that tension in Jay's voice? That's his professed hatred for America. No, it's just you, Mr. Miles. It's just you. Yeah, I don't repress that at all. How does it have future numbers? Yeah, so basically, yeah, it affects the future. This is the M2 money supply indicator here. Basically just indicates, it's not 100% accurate as you can see here, but it's, yeah, if you look at that here, settings here, I've got it set to 90 days, which is about 12 and a half, 13 weeks, but it's typically 10 to 15 weeks is how long it takes for the money in the economy to cycle into risk on markets. And it's not 100%, as you can see. It doesn't follow it 100%. It's close, and it's deviating right now, but it should at some point regain that back up to here, 150k, if not a little bit higher. So we'll come to the economy by that point. So in that regard, therefore, crypto still has higher to go. You know, despite the market sentiment right now being a bit more fuddy, a bit more bearish, we still got a lot more time, in my belief. Still got a lot more time. We're in September, we still got October, November, December, and maybe into 2026. You know, maybe 2026. Yeah, I got it to 90 days, but it's anywhere from 70 to 105 days. Good evening, Kaspa Frog. It's been a while, brother. Hope you're doing very, very well. Hope you're well. Good to pop in here. And there, life has become a lot more busy, business-wise, work-wise. But from the bottom of my heart, thank you for Kaspa live streams. I appreciate you very much, brother. And yes, honestly, it has been a big, big miss not having you here. But again, life been busy. Work, I understand that completely. And personal life as well, equally, I get that. So I appreciate you all. And you, yes, definitely Kaspa Frog, for tuning in when you can do, watching on playback or even watching live, enjoying the content. And hopefully we'll all become a little bit more free and can just sit and watch the market for Kaspa going up in the coming months ahead. It'll be a very good time for us all, I'm sure. With that being said, though, family, that will conclude today's Kaspa Crypto live stream. If you enjoyed it, always leave a like, share with your friends, and subscribe for more. You're looking beautiful as always. I appreciate you very, very much, brother. Very much indeed. If you want to know more about crypto and Kaspa, check out my free community. We're talking a lot in there, trying to, again, spread knowledge and understanding about crypto and Kaspa. Free Discord right there. Equally, the VIP, check it out. You can learn a lot more in there as well. Those who are, just as a little bit of a, I guess, leak if you want here, not a leak, but those who have been wanting to see me for a long, long time, this is not going to really matter much to my American audience, but I should be attending the London blockchain event 2nd and 3rd of December. So you might see me and my face for the first time. So who knows if I can attend that or not, who knows. I have got a ticket, I believe, so yeah. That being said, though, have a great day, good evening, and good night. I appreciate you all very much. Picking with tea. Oh, yeah. And some baked beans on toast. Soapy baked beans on toast as well. Thank you very much all for tuning in once more, and I will see you all in the next one.